Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to learn how to sync your Gumroad sales data to Supabase, which is a powerful cloud database, and unlock several downstream use cases. Let us understand Gumroad's limitations and why you'd want to move your data to another database. First, email stays basic. Gumroad handles receipts and simple broadcast, but you can't run multi-step drip sequences or behavior-based campaigns. Once your customer list lives in your own stack, you unlock advanced email automation that matches your brand. Second, automations hit a ceiling. Gumroad's triggers only work inside their UI. If you want to kick off onboarding in another app, update a CRM, or fire webhooks when a sale happens, you need that sales data available outside Gumroad where your other tools can listen. Third, ownership requires portability. Gumroad shows you past buyers, but true ownership means having that data in your own database. Then you can back it up, combine it with other systems, and build your own analytics or marketing stack on top of it. So, the database to which we will be syncing the data from Gumroad is Supabase. It's a real database based on Postgres and it's free to start. It has a very generous free plan, so you can sign up if you haven't. I have the link in the description below. The important thing is we will be using SQL queries and code, but it will be generated using AI and it works fully. I'll be showing it to you in the demo here. Basically, with Supabase, you get all the powers of a fully functional database, custom queries, workflow automation, richer analytics. You can power a lot of downstream use cases. You can break free of many of the Gumroad's limitations and actually own your customer data with AI doing the heavy lifting on the technical side. Now, let's discuss the high level architecture on how we are going to build this solution. Basically, keeping the Gumroad sales data in sync with our Supabase database. So, on the left, you can see the first path is the Gumroad webhook pathway. So, for every new sale, it triggers a ping, which is a feature in Gumroad, which we'll talk more later. We catch it with a Supabase edge function, and it drops the data straight into our database table. So that's how we stay real time going forward. Under that, there's this backfill pathway. So most of you would have Gumroad data from past sales, and you would want that to be in the Supabase table as well. So for that, we call the Gumroad API, pull in our past sales, and write them into the exact same tables. That way, nothing gets left behind. So the whole plan is webhooks for new data and backfill for old data, all stored in a Supabase table. So now we will go ahead and start building out the different components. Now let us understand what Gumroad data we get. So go to Gumroad, go to your dashboard and go to settings, go to advanced settings. And here, as you scroll down, you'll see this thing called ping, which is Gumroad's webhook system. Basically, you create a function and then have a URL with you and you paste it here, and Gumroad will send the sales data for every new sale to this URL. You can grab that data, process and then store it in your database. So we will store it in a Supabase table. Let us read more about this ping feature. So we click on learn more. It mentions every field it gives us. So based on the data we are getting from a webhook, we have to accordingly design our Supabase tables. Now, another interesting thing is the payload from the webhook and the data that we'll get for backfilling from the Gumroad API are similar. So we will pull in data from the webhook and from our the API and put it in them in the same Supabase table. Now let's learn more about Supabase. So Supabase is a database. So I already have an account. If you don't have one, you can click on the link in the description below to create your free Supabase account. You do not need any credit card. So I'll go to my dashboard. So I have three projects, and let me show you this project which I have already set up with Gumroad data. So when you click on a project, Supabase has many sub products. The main one is the database. So let me go to the database product, okay? And here you have tables. So I have already created the tables. So this basically intakes all the data coming from the Gumroad ping. So how do you create a table like this? For this, One way is to manually create all the rows, right? So at the end, if you look at this table, you can click on plus and create, but that is not the way you work. You write a SQL query and run it, and it creates the table along with the fields and the field types and all the rules that you need. The first thing you need to create the table is a SQL query. I'm not a programmer. I don't know how to write SQL, but AI does a good job of giving you SQL queries in one shot if you describe what you want. So you need a prompt that will give you the query that you run and you create the table for you. I already have the prompt with me. So let me show it to you and walk you through that. So we have this prompt of create Gumroad sales table. So it generates a table schema for storing Gumroad sales data. The way it works is we describe we want this table name and we say we want the data from Gumroad ping to be added to this table. These are the fields that are coming from Gumroad ping. So we give it that and any additional fields or things we want, and at the end we say generate complete SQL. Now, when you run this prompt in any AI tool like Claude, you will get a SQL query and you then go to Supabase and run it. So currently in Supabase, in my table, when you at the bottom there's definition, this is the query you get. So you can see it tells you, okay, create a table with all these fields. You run it and it creates the table for you. So now we have this table. So before we make use of it to get data via the ping webhook, we also have to create another table that will be used by the backfill edge function to get historical data via the Gumroad API, which we talked about. So the thing is, when Gumroad gives data via the API, it comes in batches and you have to process them pages format. So you need a table to keep track of which page you are on. So for that, we create another table to track the state. So here also you just need to tell AI and you get this prompt. When you use this prompt, say with Claude, which I prefer, or here in Cursor, if I just run this prompt, I get the SQL query, which looks something like this. It's a basic SQL query and you get another table. With this, we have both the tables that we will need. The webhook only makes use of the Gumroad sales table, and this it stays in sync with our Gumroad data. So historical data comes here, as well as any new sales data will come here with all the relevant fields. Now, in order to create the edge function, we will use Supabase built-in edge function capabilities. So I already have created it, but I'll walk you through how I did it. This is the Gumroad webhook edge function. Whenever you create edge function, it's like an API. You get an API endpoint to which you can ping back and send the data. Say you copy this, and this is the URL you paste in the ping settings. The way you create it, let me open it up, and you have the code here. It's a single file. Gumroad webhook pings this URL. The data comes in, it processes it, and writes to our Supabase table that we created. To create this edge function, I created a prompt, and this is the prompt: create Gumroad webhook edge function prompt. And it gives you the edge function code. You take the code, you paste it here, you deploy it, and you get the URL. Let me get it from here, from edge function, Gumroad webhook. And if I paste it here and send test ping, say your last sales data has been sent to your ping URL. The edge function is working correctly. We have now set up a system that will, whenever a new sale happens in Gumroad, that data will come in our Supabase table. Now, the other function we need to create is for the backfilling. It is a one-time thing. So we already have this Gumroad backfill account one function that we already created. And this basically uses the Gumroad API to pull all the historical sales data. So for creating this backfill function code, you also need the Gumroad API endpoint. You need to get an access token. So the way you do it is you go to Gumroad settings, you click on advanced. Here you go to the bottom, you click on applications, you create a new application. So I've already done one. Let me show you it in this way. So you open the application. So you have an application name, you provide a redirect URL, you get an application ID, you automatically get this. And now in Edge functions, there are two tabs. One is the functions where you manage all your functions. And there's a secrets tab where you manage all the secrets that will be used by the edge functions. So rather than storing the API key or the secret key directly in your edge function code, which is not what is recommended, you basically store it as a key value pair, just like we do it in a coding projects with a .env file. So here we take that Gumroad access token account key I already add and you paste the value here. So this will be used by the edge function. Now let's go ahead and create the backfill function that will pull in the data via Gumroad API, the historical sales data, and put it in the Supabase table. So here I've already created it. I'll walk you through it. So here's the code, it's just one file. So how do I go about creating this particular file? I create a prompt and run it, and AI gives me the code. I paste it here and deploy it. Now this function is able to grab the data via Gumroad API and fill in the Supabase table. Now, one interesting thing about this code is that because Gumroad API data comes in batches, we need to make it resumable if it in case it doesn't complete in one go, because edge functions are not for long running tasks. So if your task of grabbing the data is taking 5 minutes, the edge function will time out. You need some mechanism to resume from where you left off. This is the reason we earlier created state table via the prompt. That would be very useful and it would be used by this function. Okay, I created this prompt. Let me show it to you. Create backfill edge function. Basically, generate a Supabase edge function that fetches all historical sales data and you have all the requirements. So it generates the code we paste here and deploy our edge function. Now, once we have the edge function ready with the secret key, we need to run it so that we can pull in the data from the Gumroad API into our table. So the way currently the edge function is configured, it pulls 25 pages of data and there are 25 sales record per page from Gumroad. So it can process up to 625. You can put in a higher parameter to run it, but the issue is the edge function is typically times out. So we have to run it multiple times. And here the state table comes in handy because say wherever it stopped, it can resume from there. And typically, depending on the number of records, you may have to run it 3, 4 times and you can see your data in the logs. Now, the way to run it is one is just go to test and hit this send request. So it will run the first batch. You will be able to see the logs and you can run it 3, 4 times. Say I have 1.5K sales, so 1500 plus records. So had to run it 3 times and I got all my data inside my table in Supabase. So you can see Gumroad sales. I have 2800 plus data because I have pulled in data from 2 Gumroad accounts. So that's why it's showing 2800 plus records. Okay. Now we have all the historical data as well as the new sales data via Webhook in one place, in one table that we can do anything on. Because Supabase allows you to trigger whenever a new row is added, you can do many downstream actions. So if a new sale happens tomorrow, the webhook will trigger and that sales record will be added here. So we can be rest assured that we have now a mirror of all the data in Gumroad sales in Supabase. So if you are a creator who sells digital goods on Gumroad and wants to do more with the sales data, I can help. Send me an email. You'll find the address in the description or drop a comment on this video and we can hop on a 30-minute discovery call. I'll walk you through what you need, pull your existing sales into Supabase, lock in the webhook so every new sale lands there automatically, and then build the downstream workflows, whether it be drip campaigns, Zapier or N10 workflows, CRM enrichment, customer analytics, whatever fits your stack. Supabase becomes the source of truth and we take it forward from there. And if any of you want the exact prompts, SQL scripts, or edge function code from this video, just include that in your message and I'll share the whole bundle. Thank you.